the Sherman County Commissioners come to order. We are in open session. If anyone wants to I'll give you those, and those go right on here.
Okay.
Well, that one was quick. Okay. Is there one for First Bank card? Because I got a whole pile of stuff here and there's not a check with that.
It's an ACH.
ACH. It's an ACH, a wire.
Oh, okay,
Correct.
okay.
I'll make a motion to pay the bills in the amount of $290,409.31.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passed and the bills are paid. We have resolutions here. 23-2. Designate the depositor, and these are the banks. Do you want to do each one separately? Okay. Just designate the banks that we have.
These are all just your annual resolutions that we do every year.
These are the deposits and where they're at.
Is there a copy of the resolutions online? Where are the commissioners?
We need a sign on the back on that one.
Make a motion to adopt resolutions 23-2, 22-3, and 22-4. For the
Do I
depositors.
hear a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. We adopt the resolutions. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Resolutions are passed. This is a letter from the Developmental Services. Supporting their mission of providing services over the years. And we're budgeting $30,000 for the purpose of providing revenue to help support this. So,
Has that agreement changed? Pretty much so.
it's the same agreement if we've had the past several years.
Yep.
Brett has checked it over with us.
That's the footprint on top. Okay. Do I hear a motion to accept the contract with the agreement with the developmental services?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. We accept the development services. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Okay. And now we have tax roll corrections. These are the, from the tax sale, the severed minerals.
Yep. The top one is not. The top one, I highlighted the comment why that one changed.
Okay, commercial to use as a type to be corrected, resulting in redemption of the appraisal value.
And then the other ones are all the severed mineral taxes that you guys approved to abate from the tax sale.
Okay. So then we need to have the 23, 2023 and 05, and then 45, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 70, and 71, 72, and 73 and 4. And these are all the abatements from the tax sale. Do I entertain a motion to pay or to accept these revisions?
I think you just made a motion,
Okay.
and I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded that we do the tax roll corrections on all of these. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passed. I will sign these later when we get into. Here we have activity permit for Mr. Fisher to have a wedding. He's reserving the Smoky Gardens facilities for April 28th and 29th of 2023. And we've already made connection with him that he can reserve an area, but he can't reserve the whole thing. Okay.
Make a motion to approve that.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded that we approve this activity permit with Mr. Fisher. All in favor? Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion's passed. And this is the quitclaim deed. And Brett, you've got all the verbiage on it is how we agreed to, so I entertain a motion that we approve the quitclaim deed for the Smoky Gardens, Soldier Memorial Field.
So move.
Second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. We accept the quitclaims deed. All in favor say aye. Aye. Pose same sign. The motion is passed. I'll sign this.
Brett, did they sent a revised MOU, correct?
That's this one here,
That
isn't
one?
it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So after you approved and signed, first part of January, there was some missing language on their part as far as federal guidelines. The additions were page 1, paragraph 6. Towards the end, transport water to supply Smoky Garden Lake with sufficient water too. And this was the added language, create a wildlife, water resource, terrestrial, and waterfowl. Paragraph 8, department shall maintain a term permit with the chief engineer, Division of Water Resources. The added language is until it expires or successfully converted. Page 2, the first paragraph at the top, again, they added language for wildlife water source. Paragraph 6 of page 2, again, added the language wildlife water source. And then towards the end, they added a paragraph contingencies, which were items that were discussed but not necessarily put on paper. The contingencies of what would occur should there be a breach in the lake, basically catastrophic failure of some form, and what each party's responsibilities would be. And essentially, parties will cooperate fully to develop a plan.
But they're talking that breach.
And then they added, should the application to Division of Water Resources requesting the conversion rights expire prior to the approval for the conversion, or is otherwise modified outside the control of Wildlife and Parks, they're simply stating that they must comply with whatever Water Resources and Division of Groundwater Management require. So I have no concerns with the added language. In fact, I think it addresses two very critical points that should be in writing. So
Okay.
those are the changes.
Okay. I would make a motion to adopt the memorandum of understanding between Kansas Department of Wildlife and Parks and Sherman County on the maintenance of a fishery, wildlife, water resource, and recreation pool at Smoky Gardens Lake, located in Sherman County.
Okay. All right. It's been moved and seconded. We accept the memorandum of understanding between Kansas Department of Wildlife and Parks and Sherman County. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion's passed.
While we're on the Smoky Gardens, kind of as an extension of a conversation we had, Sheriff, you brought it up, the ice situation. I visited with Chief James and Task Force Commander Breininger about that issue, should someone fall in through the ice. They do have some water capability rescue, but in our conversation, with -5 this morning, somebody goes through the ice, it's not a rescue, it's a recovery. And after a lengthy conversation with him, I think we came to the consensus that it's better to err on the side of caution and perhaps consider an ordinance to prevent occupation on the ice.
The bad part about that is that people have been going down there for years to skate and to ice fish. And I've never heard of any accidents whatsoever down there. In our community, we don't have very much opportunity to do those two type of things. And I think we need to kind of figure out if there's possibilities that we still have, that we could give our community those opportunities. And I understand that you gotta be careful of the ice, but you talk to ice fishermen, when they go out there on the ice, they know they take some risk. They take personal risk when they go out there. And if we just post that you enter that ice on your own risk, I think that would clear us. I could be wrong on that. But most of those guys that do that ice fishing are pretty smart about doing that. They go out there and they test, and they usually rope themselves off. And I just hate the thought of taking that activity away from our community, just because we're afraid that someone might fall through the ice. I know that's a possibility always, but it's a possibility that we get in a wreck as we leave here too, and we still go out and drive. I think it's an opportunity that we can educate our community about safety on ice and kind of take that approach. And I understand that when we freeze and then we heat up, and we freeze and we heat up, the ice is a little bit different. But I also know if you're smart about it, and you know that it's been like it has been the last 2 weeks, that ice is pretty safe to be on. And I don't really worry too much about the ice fishermen as much as I do the skaters. And I don't know why we couldn't go down there and rope off shallow ends of it at least, where people could go and they could skate, but it's still post ideal that they're going to enter that at their own risk. I mean, that's kind of my thought. I just hate to take away something from our community that has been around for years. And there are people that go down there and do that. And yeah, heaven forbid, so we don't want anybody to fall through the ice and hurt themselves or die. We know that. But if they understand when they get on that ice, they're doing it at their own risk. That's that possibility. I think most people are pretty smart about that, especially the ice fishermen. I know when I've done that before, and I'm not a real fan of ice fishing because I don't like that cold weather, but we usually rope ourselves out and we go out and we gator down to make sure how thick the ice is. And for a young person, I know a couple inches is good, but for me, 6 to 8 inches is better, you know. But we're always cautious about that, and we do that. Most fishermen do that if they're going to ice fish. They're pretty smart about that. I was kind of hoping Mike would be here to kind of talk to him a little bit more about it.
I think Mike made it pretty clear how he feels about it.
Yeah. But if there were some times that we could, like during the year, even go down and have him test that and have him test them himself, and he could red flag it, and we could put out there, right now it's not safe to be on the ice. And if during that time, if someone's out there, then we could give them authority to get them off. If they don't, we could charge them a misdemeanor for that. Or if it's good, we can put it out there, say you can go ice fishing right now, but you do it at your own risk.
If you start testing and advising, then you're accepting more liability.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah, who's going to be willing to go core sample the ice to say, yeah, you're okay?
Well,
Not me.
and I always kind of go back to the Constitution. Everybody should have their freedom to pursue of happiness. If their happiness is ice fishing, then they'll do it in St. Francis, they'll do it in Wallace County, same weather we have. They do it all over the place. But I kind of agree, I'd hate to take that away from our citizens. We can't think for everybody. We have to accept certain liabilities. I mean, it's not our fault if they go out on the ice and ice fish, that's their choice. So, I mean, we can't protect them from everything. I mean, people are gonna die on the road because of the ice. We can't shut the road down all the time. We have to do it when it's extremely dangerous. That might be an ideal if you want to shut down the pond when it's extremely dangerous, but then you get into that monitoring and making sure that everything's good, and then you're saying it's good and it's not. I think you're accepting more liability in that. It's better just to let people make their choices in life, and then they'll have to live with it. But like I said, the ice fishermen, they're the most cautious. They're going to know what's going on, and they're going to pour it and test it, because that's what they do. It's amazing how many people do it. That's what kind of, I'm shocked. I didn't realize it before when it was before they cleaned it out and changed it. They do it year-round, or not.
Or when they
They're down
can.
there all the time. I mean, they're camping and doing ice camping, and they're diehards. I don't camp at freezing weather, so.
Mr. Magrum, how much, if we put a sign,
I think that's a discussion we need to have with our insurer. If
okay,
it's an option you guys want to pursue, what type of signage will best protect the county. I mean, obviously, even the most ironclad agreements and positions always have issues.
correct.
I think we need to talk with our insurer on what language or signage they're comfortable with. They're the ones that would be filing any claim.
Yes.
So that's a question we need to ask them, is what signage they're comfortable with, if that's the option.
Okay.
I'd like to pursue it that way, but, and then just not take any action on it right now until we kind of hear from that. Then we could have a good discussion with
Well, I will try getting a hold of our insurer later this morning to talk with them.
I think the idea of roping up the shallow for people to skate is a neat idea. Because we used to go down there and skate when we were kids.
Problem is, we're getting into saying this is safe and that's not.
Okay.
And you're kind of
Okay.
getting into making a choice.
Yeah, the ice road truckers drive across it and hear a crack and they still go and, yeah. So, all right. Everybody get a chance to look at the minutes?
Yes.
Okay.
that. Make a motion to acceptance.
I will second that.
Been moved and seconded, we accept the minutes as written. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, pose sign. Motion's passed. Mr. Lovelace is not here yet. Got some mail.
Good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
I'll let you finish your meal.
Well, I gotta figure out what the... They're just sending a thank you for the money. Well, good.
Nice.
Okay. What, they
So-
lowered the taxes again?
I don't deal with the taxes, I just deal with the appraised value, but I first wanted to say, I wanted to tell Harvey, thank you for going to your commissioner training. You know, anytime we all can get a little training, it helps, and then make connections with other county officials and stuff. It's always good. Saw a picture of you, and you were on the front row, so it was always nice to
Proof
see
that he
Sherman
was
County
there.
being represented. As you guys probably are aware, legislators have started back up with their sessions, and all their videos are on YouTube, so you can watch them at any time. They've made it really easy to access those now. If you just go to the Kansas Legislators homepage, and off to the right, there's a link. You click on that link, and it takes you to every committee that you want to watch, or if you want to watch their, when they're in session, in together, like the whole Senate when they're in passing bills. Right now, there's, on the Senate assessment taxation, there's quite a few bills being introduced that are going to affect property tax. I know they think it's affecting it on the positive, but it's usually cutting and shifting to someone else. So a lot of things that are going on. I did go to our legislative reception last week, and Senator Billinger and then Representative Smith were there, so I had good discussions with them. I feel like they have a good understanding of how our tax system works. I also talk to everybody that's from eastern Kansas that I can, because that's where the majority of our
Right.
representation is. But I feel like we had some good discussions, and you can only do so much, but at least if we let them know that we're out here, that we're just not a pass-through when they go to Denver, You know, it makes a difference when they see that we're there and, or what, you know, if you get a chance to email them or call them about an issue that you have, it does make a difference. I've had numerous ones tell me, well, I didn't hear from any county commissioner, so we thought they were in favor of something, and when really no county was in favor of something, but when they don't hear from us, they think that we like what they're passing. So never be afraid to email them. I have good luck. I have numerous representatives that I email, and I usually get a response back. I don't know if it's from them, but somebody's responding back at least. But yeah, they're on YouTube. You can watch them live or whenever it's convenient for you, so encourage you to do that. I want to mention that you were doing abatements this morning, so ads and abatements start in our office. Usually this time of year, usually when people get their tax bills, they forgot that they sold a truck or sold their boat or you know,
Right.
something like that. They forgot some stuff that can be prorated. Usually that's the kind of stuff that we're working on this time of year, or on payment under protest. So when they pay your first half taxes, you can do what's called a payment under protest. And some of those are from people like, on the outside, their house looks really nice. They've invited me in, and there may be something really wrong with the house that we didn't know about. Some that I'm getting ready to do that I haven't done yet are on grain elevators. So there was a grain elevator ruling, I think it was from a 2014 case out of Dodge City. It went all the way to Court of Appeals, and the Kansas Supreme Court refused to hear it, which is disappointing since it affects every taxpayer in Kansas. So it basically said that their grain handling equipment is considered commercial industrial machinery and equipment, or CIME as we call it. So we're having to redo all of the grain elevator values for people that paid under protest. Here we have Schooler and Frontier Ag. They both paid under protest. Frontier they haven't let me know for sure if they want to go through with those or not. They understand that, you know, once a tax bill is created, that money's already spoken for.
Right.
And, you know, some little cities and townships, you can really break their budgets, and the schools, you know, if we're giving back a large amount of money at this time. So that's why I encourage people when they have issues with their value to come in when they get their value notice. So like March 1 is real estate, and May 1 is personal property and oil and gas. At that time, there's no tax dollars assigned to anything. So if we find an issue with something, it's easy to fix it then. And then it doesn't bust everybody's budgets, so. So on 2023, I gave you guys the ag values. The other values, residential and commercial. Residential, I think we're gonna see probably the largest increase we've seen in this county. Last year, I thought last year was gonna be just one of those fluke things where after the COVID pandemic, that values went up and they would go back down, but no, it doesn't appear that way. It seems like they're still on the rise. So I think we're going to see, on the low side, on residential, will probably be an 8% increase. I think we'll see quite a few going up between 20 and 40%. My own's going to be going up 40-some%, so I'm not immune from the increases either.
Now, these assessments and the tax increase is set by the state. It's not set by
No, so the
county or anything like that.
So the appraised values are set by me based on what properties are
Right.
selling for. So we get all of the sales. We do use 3 years worth of sales. So, I mean, that helps having that older year sale in there right now. So we do the appraised values, and then those get certified to the state, and then everybody who gets money from tax dollars does a budget. And then the mill levy is basically a formula just to say how many tax dollars do you need to raise to satisfy those budgets. So there are several different assessment rates. So residential, you take the value times 11.5% times the mill levy to get your taxes. Commercial, it's 25%. Ag land's 30%. So there's all these different factors involved. But yeah, so on your appraised value, when someone gets their notice that we mail out March 1, your way of thinking is, can I sell my house for this within 10% of that number, or my commercial property? That's what we're thinking. So And when we're looking at sales, we're looking at willing buyers, willing sellers. So if I sold a property to my brother, I'm not looking at that sale. Some people sell things to their family, half of what it's worth, and some of them double what it's worth. So I don't look at, or if I knocked on your door and said, hey, I'll offer you this amount of money, I want to buy your house, and you sell it to me, we don't look at that sale because it wasn't open market. So not everybody knew it was for sale, so there
Okay.
wasn't willing buyers, willing seller type transaction. So we only look at properties that have been advertised for sale, either with a realtor for sale by owner. Some people put them for sale by owner at Zillow or Next Tech Classifieds. So yeah, every time a sale comes through, we research it to see if it is a open market transaction. A lot of work goes into it, but that, so yeah, those will be big increases. And like I always tell you guys, when you get those calls, don't try to explain it, just pass the buck on to us. Say, call the appraiser's office. So I would rather explain it, explain it to them the way I understand it, and then instead of you guys trying to, tell them what you think, and it may be right, but it might not be. So it's always just better to hear it once. One thing that the Senate assessment has been talking about getting rid of is penalties for personal property assessments in oil and gas. They made a comment that we apply penalties just to raise more tax dollars, which is absolutely untrue. If those penalties aren't in place, we will be doing ad and abates all year long, and we will never have an accurate number to do the mill levy. And we hope nobody gets a penalty because we want everybody to turn their renditions in on time. That way we can get our work done and it's right. So if somebody has personal property, if they have a personal property, mobile home, boat, trailer, UTV, ATV, heavy trucks, there's a whole host of things. If you have that, you have to declare it to us by March 15th every year to avoid a penalty. So if you come in every month after that, there's a 5% penalty tacked on, up to 50% if it's a failure to file. So we don't want anybody to have penalties either, but if they're, most people turn it in, the day of the deadline, which that's great. We don't care as long as it's in by that date, but a lot of people procrastinate, and if you don't have a deadline with a penalty, that's not going to be a good thing either. So
Right.
that's something, if you do get a chance to look at your legislator sessions, and if you want to mention that to them, that's something that we do not use penalties to generate tax dollars. It's just a way to get people to, and usually, they even had a taxpayer from, I think, Reno County testify on the bill, and one year they were a failure to file, and they haven't turned it in late since. So the penalty is really, where you get a penalty once, you're going to turn it in on time after that,
Right.
because you don't want to pay those hefty penalties. And there are ways too, if you're a first-time person owning personal property and you get a penalty, you can file a tax grievance through the Kansas Board of Tax Appeals to get that penalty removed. So if you're someone that, is an honest error, if you're someone that turns it in late every single year, the Board of Tax Appeals most likely is not going to take away that penalty. But, if it happened once, and we encourage people, I help people fill out the paperwork to send in, so, to get that money back all the time. So don't want people to get penalized either. And honestly, if I didn't work here, I probably wouldn't know you had to turn stuff in on personal property either. A lot of people, when they just bought something for the first time, they're like, oh, I thought I paid taxes when I tag it, like you do your car. And it's like, no, it doesn't work that way on everything, so. Heavy trucks, those people that are farmers and own heavy trucks last year took a big increase. They're wanting to go up considerably this year, but I've been talking to several counties and our state agency, and we're not going to let those go up like they did last year. So we use Price Digest to value those. And we've been looking at some that have sold and some that are listed and stuff, and it just doesn't, increases just don't seem to make sense to me anyway. So hopefully we won't see those kind of big increase. I mean, I had a truck in another county, but it went from 16,000 to 48,000 last year. So their, taxes went up 3 times the amount it was previously, so. And it's a farmer who uses it 1 week out of the year.
Mhm.
It's really hard to,
Yeah.
justify that. But yeah, so that's all I have for you today. You guys, as always, if you have any questions or if you, anything, just call me, and if you have any questions now, let me know.
I do have a question.
Sure.
Okay, we gave a permit to have a feedlot put up a wind generator.
Okay.
So how is that going to be taxed?
So wind generators are considered personal property, so we won't be taxing it. Now, if it's a wind farm, the wind turbines have, I think, a 10-year exemption. But if it's just a farmer that puts it up, we don't do
It's
anything
just a
with that.
personal property
Yeah,
because
just
it's on their property
yeah.
and they're
And when I
not.
say personal property, it's not the kind that you have to turn in on a rendition. It's like
not an
solar
upgrade.
panels. We don't pick up solar panels either, so,
Okay.
yeah.
So if it's a wind farm, then we would tax them as a commercial.
Yeah, so if it's a wind farm, then every spot where there's a wind turbine, that land gets considered as a commercial primary site and not ag land, is probably what it was. And that tax, the land tax goes to the owner of the land, and then the turbines, I think anything after 2016 has a 10-year exemption, and after that, they come on the tax rolls, which most wind farms do what's called a pilot. They have payment in lieu of taxes, where they give so much money to the county or whatever in lieu of paying taxes, so.
But they still
But-
get charged per kilowatt they produce though as well.
The wind farm,
Mhm.
not on a property tax basis, but, I mean, I'm sure they get charged some kind of tax, but it's not a property tax.
Okay.
Yeah, I know, I think Trigo County has a wind farm that's shared between Ness and Trigo, and a very small portion is in Trigo County, and I think they pay the county $300,000 a year payment in lieu of taxes, so they don't, that was put in before the 2016, so it's exempt from taxes, but the county can benefit from one in ways, but it's in different ways, I guess. But no, if it's just a
If it's
person that's
privately
putting
owned
up,
and.
yeah, if you're
they're-
just putting up one on your own property, no,
Yeah.
we're not gonna put that up.
And if they're using it for their own personal use, if they start
Yeah.
selling that electricity, then it becomes a commercial and not a private.
So even like solar panels, I know there's some people that have asked me, oh, I put solar panels, and they have them on there, and they're generating more energy than they're using, so it goes back on the grid, I guess.
Right.
The
Right.
city, I don't know if they pay them or how that works, but we still don't pick those up
Okay.
unless legislation changes saying that that's something we're supposed to do.
I know Thomas County on theirs, they get 1.5 cents for every kilowatt that's produced on those out there. And plus they have to pay taxes on top of that property.
Yeah.
That's commercial as well. And it does bring in quite a bit of money for Thomas County.
It
And Kit
does.
Carson did the same thing.
Yeah.
And Kit Carson actually required 1% up front of the taxes before.
That's good.
Beforehand.
Well, I know every wind farm has a different contract with so like Ford County has numerous wind farms down there, and I know the ones around Spearville, I think all of the money, the tax dollars they collect go to the school district down there. So if you do have a wind farm, a commercial wind farm coming here, it's all, how you guys want to do a contract with them.
So that's why when it came to that feedlot, see, what they are producing is not really used by an individual, it's not a personal, it's a business that is using it.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know how that would really fall
No.
into the categories.
No, so commercial has a lot of bills, statutes that deal with personal property. So that, I feel that falls in that category of the CIME. So the commercial industrial machinery and equipment, so any machinery and equipment that you own, that you've owned before 2006 is still taxable. Anything you purchased after 2006 is exempt. crazy law.
Yeah.
So, I mean, my husband, his family used to have a business where, an oil field business, all their equipment was old. And someone came in across the street, a competitor, all brand new equipment, and they're exempt. So, you know, their equipment's 70 years old, they're still paying taxes on it, and their competitor with the brand new stuff's paying no taxes. So it's really an unfair tax, but
Right.
that's what the law says right now. So I would, to me, that, you know, feedlot turbine would be considered that CIME.
Okay,
Clear as mud.
yeah,
But you have to figure that out.
Yeah, and you know, and some of that stuff, when we don't, you know, it's sometimes the way we interpret the statute, you know, it might be, well, we're not sure or whatever, and sometimes we'll have them go to the Board of Tax Appeals, which is an independent board, and let them decide what they think it is. So that way, you know, it's not just my decision. Like I said, I always say that statutes are kind of like a Bible. You know, you have one Bible, but you have 100 churches that interpret it differently. So I might interpret it differently than,
All right.
you know, the Thomas County appraisers, so. But I do work with a lot of county appraisers and our state agency quite a bit, you know, contact them on stuff like that and say, okay, what are you know, what's everybody around us doing? What does the state recommend? So that, because we want to do things consistent as we can, so. Yeah, that's how I would handle that situation.
okay.
Thank you.
So, yeah, anything else?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you
Well,
very much.
thank you, guys, and have a great day.
You too.
Gentlemen, I would, for the 9 o'clock, if you give me 2 to 3 minutes before that, so I can get stuff set up, I would
Okay.
appreciate that.
Jennifer, do you need us for anything?
No, I'm just here in support of the BAC discussion.
Okay, okay. Oh, I got a little signing to do, but I need to take a restroom break.
You have the quick claim deed on the website also. Is it what? The copy of the quick claim deed for Smoky, is that on the website also?
It'll be recorded out in Billy's office, the register of deeds office.
Okay. What is it actually, what was put it?
Say, ask that again.
Okay.
The quick claim deed for the Smoky, what was put it?
Basically, the water right that the state has, they're designating the Smoky Gardens as a designated delivery point. We're accepting the water contractually, but we're not claiming the right. In other words, just because we get the water doesn't mean we get the water right. That's basically what it is. It just cleans up the language saying, we're not staking claim to your water, even though we're getting it.
And is the water right, is it the same as it was before, 159?
Yes, 159, yes, that's what it comes to.
And
Sherman County didn't have a water right to give up, so I mean, we're not giving up anything. We're just not staking claim to their water as our water right. It's their water right.
But that's for 5 years,
That's for 5 years.
and then
Then it's up to the water resources how they reappropriate that. It may go up, it may go down. That's beyond our control. That's beyond the state's control. And when we say the state, we're talking Kansas Department of Wildlife and Parks and Land Management, that's not their deal. They have no say in it.
who's that?
State engineer with Kansas Water Resources. Kansas Groundwater. They have the final say. It's not negotiable.
It will probably be based on the aquifer.
Pardon?
It'll probably be based on the aquifer, if it
Yeah.
drop.
Yeah, it really will.
That's what it'll be based
And it also based on our efforts too, as to what we're trying to do to conserve as well, you know. If there's some mitigation we can do to lower that amount used, you know, that goes a long ways too. So,
The water comes from here and runs through here. And as the recipients, it makes less than no sense. Any water that comes out of the water right and runs someplace else, the recipient can't blame it anyway, can they?
no.
No.
And that's what the quitclaim deed states.
Everybody's being sued, and they get it done all the time.
Yep.
There was this funky MOU on the website.
What do you don't think the agreements are?
That the wildlife water resource that Brett was referring to, is that was that previously discussed over wetlands?
Originally it was, yeah. You know, judging from how, they want the language in there to have that ability, but I don't know how reasonable it is at this point with the year we had.
Last couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, it's not feasible. And I don't think they feel it's feasible right now either.
But the MOU gives them the right to create
Sure.
a wetland.
Sure.
That seems
It's just business.
business.
It's just business. It is what it is.
There's be a lot of people in favor of that.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people would be in favor of that because it gives wildlife preserve. You'd be surprised how many ducks and stuff would come into wetland.
Plus they tie it all into tourism, you know, is,
All of that is the good side, but doesn't the overall topic of wetlands give the government control of our land?
well, they purchased it, so
Yeah, they have control of it right now because they own that.
you have the senator and, you know, that's carried the bill, so they allowed it to be purchased.
And the state purchased the park. What park?
No.
No, the whole state.
Sherman County State Lake.
And that's the only portion that part of the MOU refers to.
Yes.
It's for the wetland, yeah.
Yep.
Get this started.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, let's go ahead and go into executive session. What are we gonna allot it 30 minutes for that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'd say 35.
35, so they allow you to get in. So do I hear a motion?
I also move.
We'll go into executive
session for 35 minutes.
35 minutes. And we'll have Ashley, Eric, and Mr. Magnum will be back in.
Do you want Rochelle in here?
Yes,
Just, you know,
yes,
doesn't have to be just an idea.
yeah.
Okay.
Been moved, I hear a second, we go into executive session for 35.
A second.
Been moved and seconded, any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We'll go into executive session.
Thanks for clarifying the smoky stuff.
Gentlemen, so this was fun. All the audio and video should come in from here. Your mics need to stay on, because
Okay.
that's where your audio is coming from. And that's the camera that is presenting to the other one.
Okay. So we have to keep it
Well, if you need to be part of the discussion, your mic will need to be on.
That's a very good answer.
Isn't he diplomatic? Of course, I look at him, I can't even remember his name. I'm going, who are you?
Well, suppose you can come up with anything you like.
So this won't be taped or,
Nope,
no?
that's why we're in executive
Well, that's
session.
what I thought, that's,
It was a good discussion. Thank you for coming back down.
Do you guys have anything else for, I've got about 30 minutes I've got to skip out.
Go ahead. I think the GAC's here to talk about the community project, and we can inform you if we need something. Okay.
Yes.
So we're back in regular session. GAC,
I'm first.
you're,
Hold on, we gotta get Ben in here. He's talking. Can I give you guys these? Yeah, we need James.
Does she know that?
She does, yeah, she's practiced it in front of the mirror this morning.
oh, it's getting rougher as it goes, though. So get up close to the microphone when you talk, so,
Here we are.
yeah,
Like that?
that's wonderful.
Woohoo! You wanna go or me? What do we? Okay, in front of you guys, you have a packet. We are coming on behalf of the GAC board, trying to cast a vision, I guess you could say, for some community health. What would you call this?
Just improving health outcomes for the community.
So what we've done, we put together just numbers of participants that go through the GAC programs, the kids, the adults, the different programs and activities that we offer. And then behind that, you guys will see an architectural draw-up of what our vision is to help continue to keep Goodland plugged into moving and staying active and being healthy, I guess overall you could say. So we are wanting to take our current facility over on Main Street and remodel the inside to better serve what we have right now for capacity. And then long-term, we're wanting to go ahead and take that empty lot that is next to the GAC and offer the community a full-size gym. There is no gym in the community for people to use outside of the school district. So we want people to have access to basketball and volleyball and all of those things if they want to come to our facility, all the other things that are offered. So we've got some numbers to go with that. We've broke it down into total costs, but we've also broke it down into different phases that the architectural firm has been working with us. We're getting some marketing materials to start a capital campaign and to just see where we can go from there. I might have more, but Jenny also has a lot to say.
Thanks a lot. Surprise.
I'll think of more.
No, I heard about their project, and it kind of tied into our conversation that we had at the last meeting. Right now, we have an unprecedented amount of ARPA funds available to our county that we've just never seen before. And so I feel with that amount of funding, we could really make a transformative effort in our community. I know not everyone agreed on the COVID-19 pandemic, but I think we can all agree, and from the data that would suggest that those that have, that are just healthier in general have better health outcomes for COVID-19. So the ARPA funds initially, when they were presented, they were for COVID-19 resources for your community, and since have opened up to, where you can roll it into the county budget. I think their project really ties into what I was explaining about having a strategic plan for our community and the health needs. And I don't want to get on my soapbox again, but that community health needs assessment, it's done for our community. We ask our residents to provide information, and I feel like that's a really good opportunity for us to listen. And that needs assessment is on the health department's website. So if you're interested in any of that data, but it does show youth activities, exercise, fitness, increasing health outcomes were some of the top priorities that our citizens identified. So Other data, the county health rankings that come out every year. Sherman County is higher than the state average in adult obesity, higher in physical inactivity, all kinds of things. And I could go on and on about data. If you want to stop in my office, I can provide you all that at another time. But the community health needs assessment should really be used to justify how we use and allocate our resources. And so this ties into this project beautifully, I feel like. And not only that, but it would be a collaborative effort, not just the county, but I know the GAC is willing to put forth some funding, and they are looking into other avenues as well. So I think it would be a really good collaborative effort, and using some cross-sectional efforts in our community to promote health and wellness.
A question for you on your draw up here. Does the GAC own the lot next to the north of you already between that and the VFW?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. One of the things that we had kind of thrown out just for data purposes is the GAC wanting to really hone in on helping people understand the benefits of staying active and exercise, all of those things, mentally, physically. And so something that we had thrown out, just an idea, is if we could partner with the county in a way where we would offer memberships to all county employees. And Jenny said that she could help us, and we would do baselines. We would do tracking, some baselines throughout an entire year to see, just county employee-wise, health benefits if they were given access to a gym and going and exercising and all of that stuff. Is that kind of, being able to partner in a way where you guys see the cumulative effects of people just being encouraged to be active and healthy.
I really like that idea. I know it's been discussed in the county years prior about doing wellness programs. And I think that would be a really fun
Okay.
project to take on, for sure.
And how would that tie in with like our insurance, the wellness program with that? I mean,
It would take care of it.
it really would.
I would think if you would see your numbers and your employees improve, then obviously your rates would obviously benefit from that greatly,
Yep.
which would help your pockets on everybody's side.
Yep.
I think as you look at that packet, so the first one is like our overall, that's the big scheme, like the big project, our big vision of the and it's a $2 million project, but we broke that down into phases so that when we do move forward with this, and phase 1 and 2 is the most important, and that takes, if you've been in the GAC currently, when you walk in, the weight room's right to the south, and then there's an aerobic room, and there's the boardroom right there. We want to take and make that all one big room, and that becomes the weight room and the cardio room. Then the existing cardio room then becomes the boardroom and my office area. And then the short gym that's currently in the gym right now, that then becomes a room where we would still hold Zumba classes, aerobics, and things like that. We've taken now in our racquetball courts, we no longer have racquetball. It's just kind of was a dying breed. Spin bike classes have taken off huge for us. So we've got 10 bikes that we have classes 2 early mornings a week. Still looking for somebody to lead an evening class. And then our other racquetball court is the home to Taekwondo, who's been there for forever. And she does her own thing, but I love that she comes and uses our facility. It just kind of keeps everybody tied in. So that's an improvement that we really want to move forward with, because our weight room's not very big. So if you get about 5 people in there in the evening, it's just crammed. And so that's just going to be something that our members that are everyday users are going to be impressed with and just make the facility more enjoyable. So, so that's the big thing. And then obviously so those other pages are if we would take on each of those rooms like as an individual, but like talking with the architects and stuff, they have said, if we're here to do the inside stuff, we might as well do it all in one shot. So phase 1 and 2 is our most important of the whole project. And I have sat down and kind of asked around with our local Sherman County Community Foundation, and then I am looking to go to Dane Hansen, just try to, because they love if we can have matching funds from we've got funds, if we can have some other matching funds, and they love community-oriented projects. So I think that it's something that if we can move forward with, if we can move forward and make this happen, that's a huge goal for us as a GAC director and as our board, and I think something our community will benefit greatly from.
Yep.
Just what kind of timeline are you looking at?
So that was one of the questions we had asked with the architects a couple of weeks ago, and all those questions that we had kind of asked were based off of, she had said those were, a lot of that's off of the funding, because until we, and we had asked, like, how much funding do we need to get started with? And some of the questions she had were more for, like, the contractors. So, I mean, I suppose if we were able to come to them and be like, hey, we've got 200,000 secured, Dane Hansen's coming in with this and that, because they said they do also do some of that, the projects, they will hire out locally. So not only would it have to be like a Garden City outfit, it could be somebody here in town that does those projects as well. So they do bid those out to local people. So that would be something I could probably get a little more serious with. It's just a matter of, we're like pulling a tug of war rope right here. Like, do we have funding, but what's our time for, you know what I mean? So, and I know that you guys have like some type of deadline that stuff has to be allocated
Right.
and whatnot. So I suppose if I was able to make that work, I could say to them, okay, here's what we've got. Here's our umbrella. This is when we've got to have this done. I would imagine that we can get with everybody and make that happen.
So in your project, if you were able to do the first two, and then the gym would probably be the last thing?
Yes.
And so
Phase 3, yeah.
what would happen if you had the money for the first two and couldn't come up with the money for the last?
That would just be a goal that we would continue to work forward to. Yes. Right now, phase 1 and 2 are the most important, and we realize that gym, man, it would be great if Dane Hansen said, here's $2 million, do it all.
Sure would.
But I don't,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm baby steps because I feel like that's intimidating. But phase 1 and 2 is our most important, that we as a board want to try to figure out how to get there no matter what. But the gym addition, maybe that takes a little bit of time, but it doesn't
Well-
have to be done. But the first one is just important, I think, for just our, you've been in there, it's packed, so it's something that our users will definitely enjoy.
Because the way you have it set up, phases 1 and 2, when you go to phase 3, you've affected a new portion. You get the others fixed up, and then you can,
Yes.
and then you have your building separate
Yes.
over there that you can do work on that, and you're not interrupting.
Right, we can continue with the flow of everyday use. Because
Yeah.
like right now, phase 1 and 2, we're gonna have to take the stuff that's in the weight room, and it's gonna have to move
move
into
some.
our gym, because I can't just say to everybody, hey, we're closing down the facility while this happens.
Right.
So we'll have to make some adjustments there, but if there's improvements, our people will be completely happy with those adjustments.
The thing with a project like this, people are willing to tolerate some changes.
For
if-
improvements.
If they know that, hey, within 6 months,
Yes,
we're going to have this all fixed up.
right,
And so we can tolerate that.
right,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, so the total cost for phase 1 and 2,
394,
$394.
yes.
Okay.
And so we plan also, as Lana had mentioned, still doing, I've been working and reading on capital campaigns and basically, trying to come up with some big events to still make some funds to go towards that so we can show our community. And like we have thought too, as we're looking for help and we get our brochures and our, publishing stuff together, we're going to try to come up with something cool. It's $77 a square foot. So maybe you're intimidated by that, or maybe you want to help, but you can't do a whole lot. So there's donor levels and things that we'll throw around, but we're in the early stages. We just met with them 2 weeks ago about that. So we've got a lot of creative ideas to try to get some funds and show people like, hey, once we've reached this goal, we're ready to move forward with this. If as long as everything stays in line and can come up with funding.
So this is the same architects that did Topside, and then
Okay.
they're over here helping with the Max right now. So I don't know if you've seen any of. So they're putting together information that would be similar to what you've seen maybe come out to help the Max remodel their lobby and things like that.
Okay.
Good.
Think of any? Do you have any other questions that we could answer for you right now? right? I mean, right. Well, if you do have any other questions, feel free to reach out.
Sure.
Okay.
Get a hold of us.
Are there plans going forward for decision-making with the ARPA funds,
That's,
as far as you know?
that's absolutely got to happen.
Yeah, I would like to
And
see
it has to happen soon.
that we have all the department heads sit down together with, either have a work session with all three commissioners or have one commissioner there to sit down and say, okay, you came with a wish list, now let's see what we can work with this list. What is,
But I think even beyond that.
Right.
Expanse,
Yeah.
what is your vision? What would you like to see
Yeah.
happen? But not just like, oh, so-and-so needs a printer, but what could we do as a community?
What-
And if this doesn't go in line with that vision, fine. But I just think it's just such a large amount of money. You could really do something beneficial for everyone, and I understand this benefits the taxpayers' bottom line, right? When
Right.
my office gets a new printer, or I go give my employee bonuses, whatever you end up doing with it. But this is something the whole community could see,
exactly,
Yeah.
where the community can say, well, this was dollars spent that, because,
It's everybody.
benefits everyone, and you're working with other partners within the county, right?
Right.
I think that's a huge aspect that we need to address.
Yep. I think it's a good project. We just need to get our stuff figured out.
yes. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
for listening.
Yeah. Have a wonderful day.
All right, thank you. So along those lines, what are we thinking about as far as getting started on this ARPA stuff?
Well, Eric had sent out a email or a text or something, and I talked to him yesterday. I think we need to sit down with the department heads, have a work session or have something, and see what, even for me to get what are the dollars we're working with, and that, and I think for me the sooner the better, because as we progress through the year, I might have to go back to work on a farm or something like that, so.
Or also, like, what other funds we could use instead of ARPA for things like
Right.
maintenance on buildings like the sheriff's office, or here at the courthouse, or the fairgrounds, that we
Right.
wouldn't need to use ARPA, or even with this project, maybe we could use healthcare services funds, We have some other funds available, we just need to have the conversation.
Yep. Well, I'd say the sooner the better.
And I'd like to maybe start with that, with just the three commissioners and Ashton there, just sit down. Let's sit down with workshop, and I know it has to be public, and go over those funds, and then bring people in when we understand it a little bit better, Steve.
I think it'd be great. Can you do the Great American Rip-Off here and put me to the next? Would that first full week in February sometime work for you guys? Eric's saying no. Okay.
The second one would be,
Second week?
no, the week of the.
Week of the 13th through the 16th, okay? All right, well, I will put in that I'll have it any day but the 16th, because I already have commitments for myself on the 16th. So
Maybe we just do it after the commissioner meeting on the 13th, or do you want it on a separate day?
that sounds great, just while we're here, and have a work session on the 13th after the commission meeting.
That'll
Sit down with us, and then if we need to bring department heads in, we can do that.
We have a plan.
Okay. So we'll meet,
Somebody like that.
Good. Very good.
okay. I have some more to
When
sign.
it all falls, when it gets some thought, then we can bring them all in and say, okay, this is what we're thinking. Why we're thinking the way we are.
Steve, that is what Brian's here for.
Oh, okay. Come on up, Mr. James.
Morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
All right, so Danco, so all of our education equipment is Hearst, except for the city. City has TNT, so we have a company coming from TNT to service that equipment, the education equipment. The rest, all the county side is Hearst equipment. So Danco is the only
Certified repair
company
person?
in Western Kansas by Hearst to work on and service. Actually, they're here today servicing our extrication equipment as we speak. But anyways, I think this is kind of dumb that they make us do this since they already have the corner market corner.
Yeah.
There you go. But this sets us into a price on parts and labor, and actually not parts aren't included in there, but labor, service work,
Right.
stuff like that. But then parts, it's not included. So this, again, just kind of sets that price in place so that if there are any markups in the future, it won't affect us.
Right.
So I know that you guys are very conscientious about having contracts signed by you guys, not by the fire board or by me, myself,
Right.
as the chief. So that's why I put this in front of you guys, so I can get it signed and then get it sent into Danco. So
Just the quick look that I saw with the hourly rate, I think is within reasonable means.
I believe so. I really don't
Yeah.
know.
Well,
in the education world, what that would be with the technician.
Knowing
hourly rate.
what I pay for a service contract for someone to work on a piece of machinery for me, that's cheap.
This is minimal.
Okay. And I did have Brett look at it yesterday, and he thought everything was fine with it. So I know you guys also like to have the county attorney
look.
review contracts before they're signed as well. So I was doing that, kind of making sure I check my dots here, so before I bring it to you guys. So, and then off that conversation, I think I'm on the schedule for the 13th. Is that right, Ashley? Yeah. Talk to you guys about rolling money over for future ambulance purchases. City, of course, has funds, capital outlay projects that they roll money into. Rod knows all about that, so capital projects. So we need to do that for EMS, so that, because these ambulances aren't getting cheaper. And we do have Med 5 that is about ready to be, need to get traded off.
It's turned to.
Yeah, it's starting to nickel and dime the department to a point to where we need to actually start looking at getting quotes and getting in front of you guys. As of right now, we actually do have the money to buy a new Type 3 ambulance, which would be Med 5. So,
Okay.
anyways, but I'll bring that to you guys later.
You too, that Med 5 is the dual-wheeled.
Yeah, it's
Dodge.
the Dodge, correct. The
Okay.
2014.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what kind of miles do you know what its mileage
It has
is?
100 and, remember, Eric, it's 150,000 miles or something like that.
Not too bad yet.
No. But to that point where we think that we could probably get hopefully a good turnaround on it. if we
Good trade-in on
traded
it.
Yeah,
Okay.
You're at that cutoff.
right. So, and like I said, ambulances are getting cheaper. So, right now, with our one transfer a day, it's kind of what our policy has been since I've been EMS chief. We've been keeping the miles down on our transit fleets, so hopefully stretching those out a little bit further. Med 1 is our highest miles ambulance,
Vehicle.
but it's not nickel and dime us yet. Let's put it
But
that
it's a
way.
transit van.
Correct. It's in that 150,000 mark on it, so for miles. So,
Okay.
but right now we need to look at a new 911 ambulance for Sherman County itself. Just again, because Med 5, it's starting to show its age.
Yeah.
So, yeah, again, it's been going down the county shop quite a bit to get this or that looked at. So I'm just giving you guys a heads up that we may be coming to you with quotes in the future.
Starting to put some nickels and dimes into.
So,
Okay.
anyways, other than that, that's all I really have for you guys is that contract to see if you guys can
Okay.
agree to sign it and then get it sent off to them. So,
Okay.
I'll make a motion to accept that contract.
I will second.
Been moved and seconded to accept the contract with Danco Emergency Equipment Company. Any other discussion?
That's 12 months.
That's a 12-month contract.
Okay.
And fees are, I think, reasonable, so. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion is passed.
perfect.
So,
I think that front page, Steve. you want to
Yes,
see?
I just
Okay.
seeing if there's any leftovers that, I could use or something that,
Being pushy over here. Oh, that garage door did get fixed with EMS. Except the bolts are coming out, so they're coming back over to address that, so. Yeah. The door that never wants to be fixed. So.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, gentlemen.
thank you.
All right.
Guys, have a good day.
Thank you.
Ashley.
Copy of that. Thank you.
Okay, is there anything else that needs to be brought up? We got the Mayo. I need to finish signing these.
You need a motion to adjourn.
Does have a second?
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded. We adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion is passed. Meeting